So the purpose of this video is to give you a quick refresh of how you set up your gradebook. So for those of you that are already in PowerSchool, you've used it for a while, this video may not be necessary for you, so you can skip the parts that you don't need. For those of you guys that are new to PowerSchool, there's some setup on the gradebook that you have to do for all classes, and we want to make sure that's done correctly from the beginning of the school year. So from PowerSchool, you're going to click Power Teacher Pro, and that's going to open up your gradebook. Now, I've just pulled up my Viking time from last year so that I could demonstrate for you guys how to set up your gradebook and so forth. There will probably already be some categories in your gradebook. For the last several years, most of us have just used formative and summative. But if there's another category that you want or it's worth taking a look at, or you can come talk to me about the difference between formative and summative and what categories you might want. If you click on the plus sign, you can add additional categories. Formative and summative should already be loaded in there for you guys. But if you want to make some changes to them, this is where you would do that. You'd add your categories first. So then in order to change your categories, I'm going to come over here to the left-hand side of my screen, and you're going to click on settings. And then I'm going to scroll down to traditional grade calculations. In traditional grade calculations is where you're going to set up how everything looks. Now, some of this is already set up because this was the previous year for me, but I'm going to click on the actions button. And right here, it'll pull up formatives and summatives. If I click this drop-down menu, any other categories I've used, or maybe even some that are preloaded, are going to be in there. Then I'm going to choose how much I want them to be weighted as. And so I already had in here 20%, 80%. I could quickly change that if I wanted to whatever I needed it to be, and it would auto adjust from there. I'm going to hit save, however you decided that you wanted to do that. And before you make decisions on what your categories are and how much they should be weighted at, I would encourage you to have conversations with your department to see if the department has policies that they want everyone to adhere to. Just because it's better when all departments are on the same page. You would need to do that to set up that grade calculation for every one of your courses. So it's good to come in here and go expand all and start changing them, and then maybe collapse it once you've actually done that class to make sure that all your grades are set up the way that we want them to be set up. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to the score sheet so that we can see assignments that are listed. Now, I only put one assignment in here, so my kids don't have grades. It's all just kind of made up in here. But something else that we want you guys to be on the same page about while you are using Gradebook this year is codes and comments for other teachers, for administrators, and for parents, most especially. There are these codes that are down here: missing, collected, late, incomplete, exempt, and absent. There's some codes that I would encourage you guys to use. So when I do my gradebook, every one of my assignments has codes that are on it. It's either collected or it's incomplete, missing, late, and so forth. So you will want to make sure that you're using them. There are keyboard shortcuts for them. Like, see how right here, MI is underlined under missing. So if I just type in MI and I hit enter, it's going to code it orange for me that it was missing. Same thing with CO. It's going to mark it with a check mark and mark it as collected. A period does the same thing, and I will give you guys a cheat sheet for this in the additional resources link. And so you can see right there, there's keyboard shortcuts that'll help you with that. I love to use the fill tool. So if you fill vertically, it's going to put all of those in as collected. And so I don't have to grade them right away, but that feedback is right in there for parents to see that, yes, it's been collected. The teacher just hasn't had a chance to grade it yet. And it's important to have that communication to parents, because parents often wonder, well, did they turn it in? Did they not? So when things get turned in, I mark it as collected as soon as I can, and within reason, so that parents know that it's there. If something is late, I will usually make a comment like, as of, you know, 8:10, this has not been submitted. That way the parent knows that it's not just me that hasn't had a chance to update the grades, that as of this date, it hasn't been submitted. And if a kid claims, oh, I turned that into her yesterday, well, then the parent can go back there and verify based on the date whether the student did or didn't turn it in, and so forth, and if the teacher has received it. So those types of communication efforts help us to improve our relationships with students and parents, and create a level of transparency for us in our grades. So I will drop a link for a quick start, or those quick shortcut links for you guys so you can use those keyboard shortcuts. And I would highly encourage you to use those keyboard codes for all students on all assignments and leave comments when appropriate.